Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 60 of the road to 2konchess.com. Today we're sitting at 1874 after we just took an absolute whooping in the beginning of our last day. Today we're playing in 1825 from India. So we're going to play e4. We get e5 on the board, which signals to us that we're going into our Vienna game stuff. Now, a lot of different lines here. Our opponent goes for knight to c6. My favorite variation here is the copycat. Now, after h6, we obviously won't get the copycat. Now here, I kind of like to go for this like d3, f4, knight e2 setup. So it starts to look a little bit more like a king's gambit style. Now, this comes in, which makes me especially tempted to play queen to g4, targeting this pawn, but it doesn't work anymore because the bishop doesn't cover f1. So I think instead we're just going to go for f4. Our opponent does have a check. Then we're going to push the pawn up, if they do. Otherwise, knight to f3 is our next move. We've run into this before. Are we in trouble after queen to h4 check? Our opponent, by some miracle, doesn't play it. So I think here we have to try and very, very quickly consolidate. So here I'm tempted to play queen to f3, just to avoid a lot of this nonsense. The knight comes in, attacking here, and attacking the queen. So let's drop the queen back to f2. Covers our check. Now we're threatening to take this. And taking this threatens mate. And I assume our opponent's probably going to play knight up, which does happen. Here, what if we play takes first? Well, takes first doesn't work as well. So maybe we'll play bishop to e3. Targeting this knight, attacking it twice. Our opponent could play a move like coming up into the position, or our opponent goes for that. Do we have a way to defend everything? Oh no, I think we don't. Takes. Man, how do we get ourselves into these situations? We are just off lately, aren't we? Do we try and go two pieces down? Or two pieces for the queen? Because otherwise we're just down a full piece, yeah? Queen takes, we can't even take back because this is here. I don't think we have another option, because otherwise we're just going to lose this. So I guess we're going to sack the queen for two pieces. Does not feeling real great here, unfortunately. But I don't see what else to do. I just don't. All right, the bishop comes out. Oh, we can't even like avoid the trade either. Man, our opponent is so annoying. What if I go knight here? I don't even have anything. Like takes here. I can't even come after this in time. If I go pawn back, bishop check here, queen back, and that doesn't work. If knight in, c6. I guess that's maybe our best play, is maybe knight to d5. Well, now that comes in. Let's play bishop to d4, attacking this knight, or attacking this rook. I got to come up with something here. If I go knight f6, what if I go bishop here? Bishop here comes up, knight check, king over. I guess I have to go knight f6 check. The king does slide over. Can we take this pawn first? Or take the bishop first? Then pawn takes. And we've kind of re-solidified the center. I suppose we do have this capture. Oh man, I don't know. I really don't want to take because it undoubles the pawns. If I go with this check, the king's forced back. And actually, do we have like a repetition here? Maybe knight to h7 if king comes up. Did we just force repetition down a piece? I can't do this. If I go takes, that doesn't work. I do now have... Well, how do I stop the king from coming here? Is really the big question. If I go check, bishop takes. If I go bishop check. What if I go knight here? Knight comes up. Yeah, let's go knight h5, threatening bishop here. We'll give this up. I mean, we've created counterplay. Oh no, there's rook here. Yeah. That's a miss. I guess technically we have bishop takes. I don't know. I'm going to go with bishop takes e6. Pawn takes. Let's go with g3, attacking this pawn. f4 comes out. Bishop back. Yeah, at this point we're just trying to hold on. This knight is trapped. And I don't really see a way that we're going to be able to free it in time. You know, guys, sometimes you're just off. And that sucks. That's frustrating. Maybe we can try and lock the position, I guess. Is maybe our only hope. And then trying to, like, reroute the knight to this square. Let's go g4. Knight back to g3. Is our opponent going to play the check? Then bishop d2. And then if knight takes, that's a trap. Yep, so let's go bishop d2. And if queen takes, we have knight check here. Should be winning the queen. And that's actually a really, really nice tactic. Now, it's not necessarily over after all of that, because it looks like our opponent's going to win at least a pawn back. But it's better than nothing. It's a slightly better position than we were just in a few minutes ago. Alrighty here. How do we want to do this? Are we in any immediate, pressure to play that move? I don't think so. So we'll just play rook d to f1. Our opponent takes. Maybe we'll play bishop to c3, and if check, we just run up. $2:35 to 6 minutes. Yeah, we're just plain bad. I don't really have a whole lot else to say about that one. Our opponent's threatening to come in, which I suppose is their right. So maybe we actually play king to d2 and threaten here. Then they're going to have to go back. Rook a1 on the way. That looks like it hangs a pawn. So let's go rook to a1. Our opponent comes in. If we take, they take here. Is there any world in which we don't just play rook g to f1? And then now knight to f5, and we should be able to remove this very, very scary pawn. I think they have to play queen to g8, which they don't. So their idea is b4 trapping the bishop. But b4 doesn't quite work, because we can just take it, because this rook is pinned. So let's start with knight to f5. The king slides over. We're going to take the pawn. b4, we snap it off. And I think they've just realized that they can't actually push b4. The rook comes all the way back, so now it's possible. So now I'm actually tempted to play like king to e3 to give ourselves a escape square, which with the queen on the board is not a feel-good move by any stretch, but more probably a move of necessity. If we take, queen takes. I don't think we have much of a choice. I think we just kind of have to open it up. This is still defended. There's no way in yet. I don't even know what to do here. Can I play knight back, try and get here? I don't think so. What if I take here? Tickle the rook. And if rook over, I'm just going to go back to playing knight to f5. I'm like barely staying alive in this position, and I have no time for once. I don't even know how many times in a row this is. But we're doing what we can. We're just gonna take this, and that's a mistake. I just realized I can't really move this bishop now, but I can play b4 to try and lock it in. I did somewhat relinquish this check, but the knight covers. I probably have to play rook to f1. Then the queen's coming in. So maybe b4 and rook over. Let's play king to d2. Oh, the rook is hanging. I need to play king d1. My opponent knows that's a misclick too, which is so annoying. Honestly, yeah, we're just gonna resign. So let's look at the game review. Let's see how we did. It didn't feel very good. All right, our opponent played with a 90.2. We played with an 81.1. In the opening, we got to this position. We played f4, and our opponent played bishop captures g1. We found the right variation. Now, after the queen check, which we were a little bit worried about, after g3 and queen takes, I guess the move we have to find there is bishop to e3, which is findable, but not easy, I would say. And if they take the pawn, I have to imagine that the move is pawn takes. Yep. So instead, after that, they played d6. We played queen to f3. Not the quite correct move. Knight to d4. Queen f2. Knight f6. And here, I think we probably should have snapped off the pawn in the center of the board. F captures e5 is saying it's not the correct idea. This is probably the biggest threat, so h3 actually seems to be a good preventative move. And bishop captures d4 was at least the correct variation. And I thought we fought on quite well here. We did miss that rook g6 just kind of stops all of our play. And then we had to play this position where our opponent never let up, and they kept finding every best move, which good for them, I suppose. But, I mean, I thought we fought back fine for the position that we found ourselves in. It's real unfortunate here that we just hung a full rook instead of playing king to e2. But I suppose that does hang this pawn, at which point you're just supposed to go back and give up even more pawns. And then obviously rook a4, what we meant to do is we meant to go with rook captures rook, at which point they win the rook anyways. So I guess it doesn't matter that much. And here we resign. I mean, hanging a pawn, there's not much we can do left in the position. So a couple rough days in a row. Hopefully we'll turn it around at our next, next couple games, but I think this just kind of happens. If you have comments on how I played or how I can improve, leave it on down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. And finally, check to make sure you subscribe to the channel, and that'll help you to make sure that you don't miss any of my future content. And on that note, I will see you guys on the next episode.